Okay, so after you've given the end pages ample time to dry, just take the books off, and then I like to slide mine into my book press to hold it. Again, you could probably rig something else if you don't have a book press, but I think the book press is really handy. But before I do that, I'm gonna mark which way is up and the front. Because it's easy to get mixed up since there's no obvious marker when the book is closed. So I'm just gonna slide her in. I also just made this book press. It's really easy. I just found a tutorial on YouTube. I think it was Sea Lemon. Okay. Hold it this way so you guys can see. Okay, so before we start, I'm gonna prep our next materials. You're gonna need headband, ribbon for bookmark if you want, some cheesecloth, and a piece of scrap paper to cover the cheesecloth with. So gotta pick out which color to use for the headband. I got this kit on Amazon, came with all these colors, which is so fun. I like getting to choose. I could do this red and go really matchy-matchy with it all. But this brown is pretty too. I'm just gonna do the red. Burgundy. Okay, so then I just measure how it's gonna fit. That's good. Same with the other side. Gorgeous. Gotta cut my ribbon to size. I've never used a ribbon this thick before, so hopefully it turns out good. I'm out of the silky, like satin ribbon that I usually use, but I think this should work fine. So you want to measure it so it can glue down at least 1/3 of the way. So like hold it here, and then you want it to go through the whole book, obviously, and then also hang out a little bit. So I'm gonna cut it to about right there. Okay. Double check. Okay. And then our cheesecloth as well. So I like to do a double layer. So this is already a double layer. Like you don't want it, like, it's hard to explain. So this would be a single layer. This is a double layer. So you want it to just hang over each side about 1 inch. So I'll cut it there. And you put the cheesecloth on the spine for reinforcement purposes. It helps hold the end pages to the rest of the book since they're just held by that small little 1/2 centimeter of glue that we put. So this just really helps everything stay together when the book gets opened and closed, oftentimes. Okay, and then I'm gonna trim this bit. So that's good to go. And then also just go ahead and trim this little scrap piece of paper. So this is just a piece of like printer paper that I like to put on there as well. Cut it a little bit smaller than the spine, just so it definitely fits. That should be good. It doesn't have to go down the whole length of the book. Okay, I think we are good to go. So, first thing I like to do, take my brush. I just keep my brush in water. It just literally lives in here. And it's like, so after I use it, there's glue on it and I just put it in the water. And then the glue just like dissolves away, and then I just make sure I dry it good before I start gluing again. Okay, so get your glue. And then you really just want to like pile glue on here. So you just cover the whole thing, and then you want to get it in these cracks. So like you'll see there's kind of a gap in between the end papers and the book itself. Like even though you glued it down, it's good to just like shove glue in there and eliminate any chance of it coming detached. Like you definitely want a strong spine when doing this. See, I just like kind of scrape the brush and then the glue kind of just goes into there, that crevice that I want it in. And even if it's like kind of thick, it's okay because it'll dry. It just takes a little bit of time. Okay, so that's good for now, and then we want to glue on our bookmark. So just make sure it's lined in the center of the book and make sure your arrow is pointing up, like get the bookmarks going to the top of the book. Just press it. And then, well, I guess I'll still do it. I haven't used this velvety thick ribbon, so, but what I usually do is I'll just put glue on top of the ribbon, and like with the thinner satin ribbon, it usually soaks through, so it really, really adheres to the book. So I'm just gonna do that here also, even though I don't think it's really gonna soak through, but I'm sure it'll do something good. Okay, so we'll just go with that. And then you'll take your little headband and put glue on it directly. You don't want to get it on the color part at the top because then it will show. So the headband has like this little fat part at the bottom, like at the top actually, on this colored part, and that's like what hangs over the edge of the book. So you just like put the edge of that fat part right on the corner here and kind of anchor it to the book. Like you want that, the end of the fat part to be kissing the edge of the book. And then really press it down, make sure it's straight. Yeah, my hands are gonna get all gluey, but that's fine. I just wanna press it extra since this ribbon is so fat. That all stays. Okay. And then I also like to go back in with my brush and paint over to make sure it's soaked through in really good and adhered. Okay, then you do the same thing on the other side with the other headband. So again, you just paint your glue on this white part. Make sure the end is anchored on the edge of the book and then it's good and straight. Press it down and then go back over it with some more glue. Okay, sweet. Now, gotta take your cheesecloth and put it in the middle. I like to hold it like this because then I can get it good and like centered, I feel like. So just kind of like that. Again, it's not gonna cover the whole length of the book, but it's fine. I just kind of want to tap it in, get it pretty nice and stuck to the glue that we put on earlier. And then you would put another good thick layer of glue over that. So I kind of just like to like press my brush in like this, because if you really drag it, it'll kind of slide the cheesecloth. And then giving it pressure like also really sticks it down. So I kind of just go through and you can see all the little squares, like all the holes in the cheesecloth filling up with glue, which is good because a good thick layer of glue makes the spine nice and strong, which we want, obviously. Tap, 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 tap. Yeah, so make sure all of it is good and stuck down. Okay. Gotta make sure this big fat ribbon is stuck down again. I think it's good. Okay, and then the final thing is just this strip of paper, just for good measure, really. You just line it up over the cheesecloth and then make sure it's good and pressed down. I like to use my bone folder to really get it in there. Just want to make sure you don't get glue on your bone folder because that's annoying. And there's your text block. It's gonna prepare. You just want this to really dry before you finish, but as it dries, you can work on the next part, which is gonna be cutting the boards for the spine and the covers and wrapping them in the book cloth. So you can get right started with that. You just wanna make sure this is dry before you glue the whole book together. Okay, I'll see you in the next part.